is hurting. We have officers who are injured, who are in the hospital, and we lost one of our own.
A heartbreaking Friday morning for the Dallas Police Department. Good morning, and thank you for joining us here for CBS News Texas Mornings at 5. I'm Carmen Blackwell with Jason Allen, who is in for Madison Sawyer today. We also have a weather alert in place today ahead of your Labor holiday weekend.
Yeah, but first we are following some breaking news. As you saw there off the top, there's been a Dallas police officer who was shot and killed late last night, 2 others injured. Here's what we know so far this morning and what has happened in these early morning hours. You're seeing in that video there dozens of police officers who all came together this morning. They carried out a procession, and this is for the police officer who was killed. They drove from Methodist Hospital, where the officer died, and they followed that to the medical examiner's office.
And before the procession, officers came together to salute the man who lost his life in the line of duty. At this hour, we don't have his name just yet, but we are working to get more information for you.
Yeah, we are. And here is what we do know, though, about what happened late last night. DPD originally, we're told, got a call for an officer in distress. This was in the 900 block of Ledbetter in the Oak Cliff area. When other officers got there, they found that officer shot in an unmarked car. The suspect and the officers who arrived, police said that they both exchanged gunfire there at the scene, and 2 more officers then were shot right there at that scene. They all were taken, all 3 of the officers who were shot were taken to local hospitals. One of those officers, we're told, is in stable condition, another one in critical condition, and as we've mentioned, there was one officer who was killed, who died from his injuries. So 3 total officers, Dallas police officers, who were involved in this late night shooting.
CBS News Texas has been on top of this all night long and now into the early morning hours. And we have team coverage this morning of this tragedy. Ashley Moss on our assignment desk, Nicole Nielsen at the original crime scene, and Lauren Crawford at Methodist Hospital, where procession took place within the last hour. So let's get right to our Lauren Crawford first. Lauren, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Well, you can just feel the weight of emotion out here this morning outside of the Methodist Hospital, where that procession just wrapped up about 30 minutes ago. And one thing I do want to point out is the tremendous amount of support that we've seen out here the past 4 hours. Now, this hospital is where that Dallas police officer who was killed in the line of duty was brought after being shot in what we're told his marked patrol car just after 10 o'clock last night. Around 1 o'clock this morning, dozens of police officers lined up outside Methodist Hospital. Officers, you can see here, saluting outside the emergency room as some of those family members of the officer killed make their way through the procession. Now, right now, we do know that 1 officer is dead. 2 officers are in the hospital. One of those officers is facing serious injuries, and the other, we are told, is expected to be okay. Now, Dallas police have not released the name of the officer killed, but this morning, just a very emotional presence across the entire city of Dallas. Officers and members of law enforcement family were seen hugging out here, praying, holding each other as they feared the worst.
One more thing that I'll add, and I think that you see that from the support that we have behind us and from our city leaders, is that our department is hurting. We have officers who are injured, who are in the hospital, and we lost one of our own.
Now, we are told the investigation is ongoing, and earlier Dallas police said there were several crime scenes across Dallas, even into Lewisville. So this is an ongoing investigation. Will continue to follow throughout the rest of the day. In Dallas, Lauren Crawford, CBS News Texas.
Lauren, thanks for sharing those pictures, that video with us. Always a very difficult scene, always very heavy when law enforcement officers have something like this happen to one of their own. Let's take another live picture this morning. We want to show you as well. This is Baylor University Medical Center, because remember, we have, as Lauren was telling us, had 1 officer who was killed, but there are 2 others right now who were injured. They are being treated there. We've also seen, of course, officers who have shown up there to the hospital at Baylor to give their support. And so we're continuing to wait this morning and work to get more information on their condition. Again, one of them, we're told, is stable, but another one critical because of the injuries sustained in that shootout that happened with the suspect at that original location on East Ledbetter.
Well, those officers were shot in Oak Cliff, which is where we now find our Nicole Nielsen. She's there this morning. Nicole, tell us, what's the scene like there right now? We know that several officers rushed to the scene when they heard this news. Walk us through exactly what happened.
Hey, good morning, guys. I can say that this is still a very active scene here on East Ledbetter Drive. I'd say probably about a half a dozen police cars still block off this road. I want to go ahead and give you a closer look. You can still see some officers here on scene as this investigation continues. Now, the streets are closed here from South Marsalis Avenue all the way to Singing Hills Drive. And it was on this street where 3 officers were shot last night. Now, our sources say this could have all initially stemmed from a burglary call, although Dallas police, they have not confirmed that detail yet. What we do know for sure is that DPD got an officer in distress call around 10:10 last night here on East Ledbetter near the 4 Oak Cliff Community Center and nonprofit. That's where they found one of their own officers had been shot inside of his marked patrol car. Then responding officers began to have a shootout with the suspect responsible, which led to 2 more officers being shot here before they were taken on a car chase all the way up to Louisville, where eventually the suspect was shot and killed. And of course, as Lauren reported, one of those officers is confirmed dead. Now, we are told that Dallas police are going to be continuing to heavily investigate both this area as well as the scene up in Louisville. And so we expect a heavy police presence at both scenes throughout the morning. But really the biggest question still remaining is how and why all of this happened. Dallas police say they're looking into all of those answers and hopefully can give us more information in the coming days. In Oak Cliff.
We asked tonight and this morning for the thoughts and prayers of our city, for not only those who are recovering in the hospital, but for our fallen, for their family, and for their loved ones, and for us as a department as well.
Yeah, it sounds like you just heard from DPD this morning. They gave that press conference around 3:15 a.m. this morning. Not much more information to share, but we are hoping that we will hear from Chief Eddie Garcia at least this morning. If not this morning, maybe later today. Back to you.
Okay, Nicole, thanks for giving us a look there at where this scene started in the overnight hours, but it did not all happen there. This started there in the Oak Cliff, but it ended actually on a highway all the way up in Louisville.
Right, and that highway shut down for hours. And Ashley Moss is on our assignment desk right now. She's got more details for us. Ashley, what do you know about this scene? What's the latest?
Well, as you guys heard, that incident started at the scene that Nicole Nielsen is at, and then that suspect did lead police on a chase after that shooting all the way to Louisville at I-35E and Business 121 in Louisville. Let's go ahead and look at this video. This is still a very active scene. You can see the police vehicles in there. That white vehicle that you see in the background is involved. You see officers and investigators looking over it. We were looking. There's some damage around the front end. You see markers where there are pieces, and this is where this all came to a head. Now, we do know that officers engaged in a shootout right here. They were able to shoot that suspect, and this is where he died. So obviously in this area, this portion is still closed. Northbound 35E is closed at Business 121 in Louisville due to this police investigation. You see there's no activity on the right side of the screen, so that we expect to remain closed for several hours. So if you are traveling on this area to work this morning, please be mindful that this area will remain closed overnight. So the questions that we're working to answer here on the desk, we're trying to get the identity of that suspect. We're trying to figure out what, if any, additional details about what happened between that scene on Ledbetter and then what happened at that shootout in Louisville. As always, we're going to be working on that throughout the morning. We'll bring you updates as we get it.
All right, Ashley Moss live for us in the newsroom. Ashley, thank you so much. We know that you guys work so hard behind the desk there. We know that we just saw, a sea of officers at the hospital at Methodist where that officer is now confirmed that he is dead, and also at the scene where all this happened. You have been covering, unfortunately, officer-involved shootings for years. Tell us when the last one was and what that was like compared to this.
So we just saw a few weeks ago Fort Worth dealt with this, right. and this was an officer who was killed in a highway crash. But shootings, you go back to, I think 2018 in Dallas would have been the most recent one with an officer killed. And again, one of these situations where they're confronting a suspect and the suspect then has a firearm and shoots. And then, of course, as anybody who was here back in 2016 will remember the shooting in downtown Dallas that happened during a protest where 5 officers were killed, 4 DPD officers and a DART officer. So very difficult for DPD to have to go through this again.
Certainly. It's a dark morning